out last season to help build your relationship with the team?
Build it a lot because even though I didn't play, I mean, we have the greatest seasons last seasons, and I was a part of that. Like I wasn't on the court, but I was in the locker room every day at practice, witnessing and going through the same thing they was going through.
Luther, Bobby's described you as a gym rat, and he said that your work in the gym is super admirable. What do you think has been your mentality since you've come to ASU, and how has the dealing with the injuries kind of affected that?
Um, we can start by saying I've been that way all my life, pretty much. That's pretty much how my mom raised me. She ran track, and she say nothing is given. You got to earn everything. The way you earn it, you got to work. So I just try to spend as much time as I can on the off season in the gym, and being out because of injuries. That was the longest I ever been out, and it was definitely frustrating and very different because I never been away from basketball that long. But it gave me I feel like it was also a learning experience because it gave me an opportunity to see the game from a different perspective, kind of from a coach's view or a fan view, and actually see the things that us players don't always see on the court.
Hey Luther, how important is it to you to establish a defensive identity on this team?
Uh, Very important. I mean, I'm not going to say too much. All thing I'm gonna say is offense. I'll take his defense win games. So, at the end of the day, like you're not gonna always make shots, and you're gonna need defense to kind of be up and keep you in the game.
How do you feel about just the depth of the backcourt and what's it been like working with some of those other guys?
It's been great. I feel like everyone's a starter. It's no drop off, and everybody's compete. Everybody got a chip on their shoulder, and no one's gonna let each other slack.
What do you feel like is sort of the greatest strength for you guys as a group in that backcourt?
Connection. I feel like our greatest strength is connection. One, and we love playing with each other. So like having those two things make everything like running plays, executing, playing hard, and make all that stuff a lot easier. Even easy on the coach.
You talked about sort of seeing the game through that almost coach's perspective when you were hurt. How do you feel like that's going to impact how you play now that you're back out there and make you better?
It is gonna impact tremendously because I feel like watching film and actually watching every game and watching a lot of basketball, being that I'm not playing, it opened up and expanded my IQ.
Luther, what did you think about the first exhibition game?
I'm very excited. I know my team is very excited, but most importantly, I'm definitely excited. I've been away from the game a year and a half, so it feel great to be back out there and playing and competing and getting better every day.
What did you guys do well against New Mexico State?
We moved the ball very well. We communicated very well on offense and defense, and most importantly, we just played hard for 40 minutes.
Is there any things from that game to when you guys play for real that you want to make sure that you're focusing on?
I would say keep the same energy, no let up, and we won that game, but at the end of the day, it was a scrimmage. Like that's in the past. We kind of put that behind us and focusing on what's next. And we haven't accomplished nothing. We not counted. We not picked to win nothing. So that's just a chip on our shoulder right there.
But there's obviously not a ton of familiar faces from last year's team, but all the guys that have transferred in, what has been your advice to them as someone who's seen Coach Hurley for a year and kind of gotten adjusted to his culture?
My advice to pretty much newcomers is come in with a strong mindset and a great attitude and being willing to learn and get better. No matter how many mistakes you make, like always think short-term memory with that stuff. Just look at it as a learning experience. Like coach gonna yell, like every coach is gonna yell at you, and you can't pretty much hold your head or you can't make a mistake and let it ruin you for the rest of the practice. Like in a game, no, the game not gonna wait for you. So you make a bad pass in the game, you gotta think the next play. You get it back on defense.
Cooper, what's something that's really jumped out at you about the newcomers as a whole or someone specific?
I feel like what jumped out with me as far as all the newcomers is like every newcomer that came in averaged a lot of minutes, a lot of buckets, and no one came in with a cocky attitude. Everyone's level-headed and humble and always want to work and get better.
You mentioned ball movement also as a strength against New Mexico State. How does that sort of feed into just the fluidity of the offense and kind of that unselfishness that you're talking about?
That's just pretty much playing with instinct, taking what the defense is giving you, not forcing nothing, and just playing off the flow of the offense.
And that's something that you feel like you guys are going to continue to do well?
Yes, yeah, I believe that's something we like doing. So that's pretty much we trying to keep that same thing every game, pretty much every practice actually.
Hey, Luther, some critics may say that you're not one to light up the stat sheet in terms of points, but more so on the defensive end. So how would you respond to those critics, and what other aspects of your game have you been working on this offseason?
Repeat the question.
Okay, now you. I said some critics might say that you're not one to like light up the stat sheet in terms of the offensive end, but more so the defensive end. So how would you respond to those critics, and what other aspects of your game have you been working on this offseason?
I don't really have anything to say to that, but I just say I'm a two-way player, and I pretty much worked on a lot of three-point shooting, ball handling, ball screens, pretty much my overall offensive game, and we'll see when the season comes.